What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Blazers Uprise Live. I'm too low on the screen. Eric's too high. Let me move him down. Nope, wait, you're just too high on your own screen. So what's going on? I can't see the screen because I have the logo, so I literally went to live, and I forgot I was, leaning way down, and your head was just not even in picture. So, all right, there we go. We're set to go.
We're good.
What's going on? On this stream today, we're going to talk about... I have no idea what we're going to talk about. That's why I didn't have a title. That's why the thumbnail was literally me and Eric. I love that thumbnail. So yeah, we're just chilling. We'll talk about what you guys want to talk about. I don't know. Just kind of, we're in the middle of it all, if that makes sense. We're just in the middle of the struggle right now. Not much to talk about basketball wise. We had a stream on Monday where we talked at length about the coronavirus and a possible return. So we can talk about that a little bit. I just didn't want to have a whole nother stream dedicated to that. That's why I didn't title this based off that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so I don't want to, spend 30 minutes or something talking about that. Can maybe talk about it for 5 minutes or so. I'm just, try and keep it fresh, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there was a couple of positive things that we should probably mention. One is that Adam Silver hinted that all 30 teams would be involved if they restarted the season, which is good news for the Blazers and trying to make the playoffs. I don't know if that could mean anything, but at least it's not looking like they want to just go straight to the playoffs and just skip the rest of the regular season, which would be good. And then, I think there's a lot of positive momentum towards a lot of the players seem on board with wanting to restart the season, so that'll help the process along as well if you don't have pushback from the Players Association and stuff like that. But yeah, so a little more uplifting than our conversation on Monday probably, but yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but yeah, it's still depressing to talk about.
Yeah, it's just, for me, it's just whatever at this point. It is what it is. I'm glad, it sounds better than it sounded a month ago. Let me just say that. Because it sounded like the only way they were starting is if they just go straight to the playoffs. Blazers get screwed. You don't get to see Collins return. You don't get to see Nurkic return. Still kind of sucks that Nurkic doesn't get to return at Moda Center. But, it'd just be fun to watch those guys play. I want the season to return, even with the stuff I said on Monday. I've kind of bounced back and forth between that and, definitely did, But if all 30 teams can return, man, that's huge, and that's good for every fan base in the league. You get to watch your team a little bit more in the summer. So what they've said is if they finish the regular season, they think they could finish out the complete regular season and the playoffs in 88 days. So just looking at the calendar right here, it's probably up on your face right now on the screen.
It's all good. The Skype thing's on there.
But I think if you started July Wednesday, 7, 14, 21, 28, let me just do the math here. 35, 56, 63, 77, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. So if you started July 1st, you could end the finals, and this is with every series going long. You could end the finals by September 27th, which I think is a good ending date. It kind of interferes with the NFL, but it's only the finals and maybe a little bit of the conference finals that interfere. So just make those games not on Sundays, maybe not on Mondays and not on Thursdays. Try and stagger it around that. And I think that'd be fun as a sports fan to have the start of the NFL season as well as the NBA playoffs, NBA finals going on at the same time. That would be very, very strange. But it's all strange. So that'd be cool. I hope that's what they do.
The magical September with all 4 sports playing might still happen.
Yeah, that'd be insane. There's a week every year or so. I think it's late October where you have the World Series, you have the middle of the NFL season, you have the start of the NBA season, then NHL season is in week 2, and it's only for a week because then baseball ends, the World Series ends. And it's like the what's it called? I forget what they call it. The solstice or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that even makes any sense. But it's just the week where everything comes together is for sports. You could have a whole month, 2 months if you count NFL preseason. Which are they going to play the preseason in the NFL? Are they trying to
I
do
don't,
that?
well, when they announced the schedule, they had all the 4 preseason games on there.
I feel
Yeah,
like
I
they
don't know.
won't. I feel like it's not worth the trouble, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. But that'd be cool to have a whole September with sports. Especially hopefully that's combined with us kind of getting out of this a little bit, and stuff like really opening back up safely. Let me fix my mic. Hopefully it's combined with a lot of other good things. So just trying.
The other thing they mentioned was that they're studying whether they could make it work with like 15 to 20% capacity at arenas, so you have some fans kind of spread out throughout the arena.
How would that even work? I feel like tickets would be super expensive or super cheap. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd probably go to like season ticket holders based on seniority first or something, I'd imagine. But I mean, if you think about it, if they cleaned everything and you were only allowed to go like in a certain seat and from there to the bathroom or whatever, and everyone was like 6 seats apart or whatever, probably could be done. It'd be a little weird, but or you
Yeah.
could have like if my group of 5 all went, we could sit together, and then the next group of 5 has to be so
Yeah.
far away from us or whatever.
I mean,
But
I think that's what like the NFL's hoping to do. Maybe more capacity than that, but
yeah,
the only way you can social distance is if you do it like that. And I think like seating wise, you do it kind of in like a checkerboard pattern with groups.
hmm
So you have like group here, group here, group here, group here, like so nobody's sitting directly in front of you, nobody's sitting directly next to you, kind of like a checkerboard pattern, spaced out however much they see fit. The only problem is like leaving the arena. I think you'd have to like getting in and leaving would be the issue there. So I don't know how they do that, but I feel like they'd
yeah,
have to have some sort of process for getting in and leaving, unless it was mandatory that they wear masks to their seat. That might be the thing. They have to wear masks to their seat, because if everybody's coming in wearing a mask, you mitigate the threat a lot. So if you're not in your seat, you have to be wearing a mask. That's probably what they do. So if you go order food or you go to the bathroom, you have to be wearing your mask, which I think can actually be pretty safe. And if there's, I just want to hear what the crowd noise would sound like with that.
I'm guessing they probably have to have all the fans that do that like sign some sort of waiver. When you buy a ticket, you're waiving your right to sue them if you get the coronavirus or something.
Yeah.
Like they probably have to protect themselves somehow. I'm sure fans will still go regardless of the risk. But yeah, they probably have to protect themselves somehow against the fans coming back and suing them.
Yeah. Also, people who have antibodies, they still don't know how much immunity people have if they have antibodies. Maybe you could do something with people that have antibodies and are, if they can figure out that they're immune to it as well, those people could go to stuff like games. I feel like that could play into it depending on how much of the population ended up infected without knowing it, because there's wide ranges. It could be upwards of 10%. If it's 10%, you have more than, you have 100,000, maybe more people in Portland alone, but probably not in Portland, because we kind of cracked down on it early. It was more like the hotspot cities that might be the case where a lot more people were infected. I don't know. I wonder if that could play into it, and I wonder how they'd handle that.
Yeah.
Either way, it'd be cool.
Even like a city like Utah that's not big, but was like ground zero for NBA players. Like, are they going to be scared to go back because so many people from that organization tested positive? Is it safe to go? Like, people are going to be worried about that. And then,
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm sure regardless of what the rules are, there will be people who will go. I just don't know if it's worth it financially for the NBA to have like 15% capacity. Like, would it be better to just not have any fans and not have to worry about the logistics of setting up everything and having
Fifth,
employees and stuff. I don't.
yeah,
It's a tough decision.
15% capacity of a 19,000 person stadium would be almost 3,000 people. It
Yeah.
would be 2,850. So if you're selling tickets at, I don't know, let's just say on average $40 a ticket, that's still over $100,000 they make in a night. So I still feel
Yeah.
like financially, it'd be worth it. Because I don't think the cost for putting that on would be near that high, and then you're not counting concessions and stuff with there. So even if it's just like 3,000 people, I feel like it'd still be financially worth it. Is it like financially profitable enough to really mean anything to these billion-dollar corporations, though? That's kind of the question, because if they're only making, $10,000 from doing that, each night, when you factor in operating costs and all that, then it doesn't really make sense to take that risk in order just to make $10,000 for a billion-dollar company, because that's what these teams are, billion-dollar companies. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I didn't think that was even something that they would possibly consider, but it sounds like that is now on the table, just as something to think about for them. So I don't know. We'll see. I'd love to go to a game still and be socially distanced and just get out of the house and go to the arena. But so in that scenario, would they be like playing in home states, like hometowns, home arenas, or?
I think that was the idea. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be good for the players to be able to, be able to be at home for part of it, not live in a bubble. It'd just be interesting to see how that works out. It just sounds a little bit risky. But you still have a little bit of home court advantage, a little bit of an atmosphere, kind of what's the word? A swage? I forget how to say that word. I need to brush up my vocabulary. But it kind of
if they do like the Vegas or Disney World type bubbles, they should just have like one of the casinos just house all the fans, and then so like when your team plays that day, your group of 1,000 fans gets to go. I know
dope.
it's not the same, but like if you're one of those 1,000 people, you have to live there for those 3 months or whatever. But at least you get to go and cheer on the fan.
Yeah. Also make them like vaccine trial participants or something,
Right.
like for the health community. I don't know. And then they can be like monitored in the hotel or something. I don't know.
If
But
I didn't have a family, that'd be awesome.
I know, for real. Yeah, I'm too scared to do something like that. I won't even eat stuff if it's one day expired, so I can't
Yeah.
imagine testing the vaccine.
I just meant like if you could just drop everything and go to Vegas and go to every Blazer
Oh
game
yeah,
for the rest of the season, and you were one of only like 1,000 Blazer fans that got to do that, and you
yeah,
got to stay like in the same like hotels as them. So like when you go get food and stuff, like you see players and kind of like summer league, only more condensed.
yeah. True. I mean, thinking about like the least packed stadiums, they have what, 5,000 people, 6,000 people. I mean, you still, it's almost like normal for those stadiums. I think if you were able to have like 3,000 people in a stadium, it honestly wouldn't be as weird as it would seem like it would be. You know what I mean? You see a
Yeah.
lot of empty seats, but at least you'd have some crowd noise. It'd be, and you'd give some fans the experience of just being at the game. It'd just be a good overall. If they can do it properly and be safe about it, it'd be a good like middle point between safety and having an atmosphere at games, having fans at games, that type of thing. You just have to wonder about like the travel with the players, and then where are they going when they're at home? Like that would possibly get messy, but we'll have to wait and see. So we'll have
Little
to wait
bit,
and
little
see.
bit more positive than
Yeah,
worrying about canceling the season, though.
yeah. I mean,
And
I think they're going to
it,
restart at this point. I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion.
it seems like they're doing everything they can to do so. Yeah.
I mean, you got the MLB too alongside that, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see if one sport affects the other. That'll be interesting to see. But
The NFL is basically just saying, okay, here are the dates we're playing. We're going to do it. I don't even think they're worried about it.
yeah,
That's-
they got so lucky though, because their season ended right
Yeah.
before this. Super
Can you
Bowl's a month
imagine
before
if this canceled the Super Bowl?
Oh, people would lose their minds. If the Super Bowl is like, if this happened a month earlier, a month and a half earlier. If this happened a
Yeah.
month and a half earlier, Super Bowl would have been canceled, and there wouldn't have been a chance to like make it up just because of the scheduling of it. The NFL got lucky as hell because you can have a draft on the internet. I mean, we had a draft on the internet, you know.
Yeah.
So they were able to do that completely fine. Went off very, very well. And then they don't play until September is when regular games start. And they can push that back a little bit if they need to and be completely fine. They don't really have a long season. So even if they push back the regular season to start in like November, they're ending the season, in April? They can still start the next season in September. You know what I mean? They still have 5 months off. It's not like with the NBA where you end the season in June and you start back up in middle of October. So if you push it back 2-3 months, end the season in like September, you have to push the next season back.
Yeah.
So the NFL's just lucky with their scheduling. The NBA and the Major League Baseball, NHL, have had to bear the brunt of this. But I mean, you got smart people on this thing, and Adam Silver's a guy who I trust. You know what I mean? I don't know how David Stern would have handled this. That would have been interesting. But I trust Adam Silver. Adam Silver's had to deal with a lot for only being commissioner for what, like 7 years, 6-7 years.
It seems like about that, maybe a couple years longer.
He's had to deal with quite a lot, man. This is like the ultimate test. But NASCAR comes back this weekend, so I'm excited about that.
That's going to get a lot more people.
I know.
I've seen so many people like, man, I hate NASCAR, but I'm going to watch.
Honestly,
I just need to watch something.
Honestly, they're not starting with the most. I wish they were starting with like a Talladega or Daytona.
Yeah.
I wish they came back with one of those tracks because those are by far the most entertaining races. Let me go on a little like 2-minute NASCAR talk here since we have nothing to talk about, and that's the most relevant sport right now because it's coming back. So super speedways they're the fastest tracks. They're like 2.5 miles. It's Daytona and Talladega, and those are like that bad crash that happened in February. That was a super speedway. That was Daytona. The cars are usually like sucked up in a pack together and they can't break away from each other, and they're going like 205 miles an hour. Those races are super entertaining just because of the speed they go at in the the pack racing. I love watching pack racing. So like the other tracks they're not as entertaining to like somebody who was casually watching it and didn't know, in my opinion, as like Daytona or Talladega. So I wish they were coming back with a super speedway with a track like that, because I think people that have like never given it a chance and sit here like NASCAR sucks, blah, blah, blah. I feel like if they gave super speedway a chance, they'd actually enjoy watching it, because you get some adrenaline watching like Daytona, Talladega. You get some adrenaline watching it.
Did I hear they're trying to do like 3 races in 8 days or something crazy like that?
They have like lower tier series, so that's like including them.
Okay.
But like there's going to be a driver or two that are racing in the lower tier series as well. It's not like the NBA or other sports where you only play in the top series. Yeah. Some guys go down. But
doesn't that usually happen on weekends?
Usually it's, one race a week for like the 3 series. So usually it's like 3 races in the course of 7 days. I think they're doing like some insane, because you're having 2 races a week now instead of 1. So that'd be cool. But yeah, Sunday it's going to be interesting. It might be a shit show because they have no practice time or qualifying time. They're literally jumping back in a car without really setting it up for the track and just going out there and racing. So, honestly, with how bored I've been, people are watching Korean baseball. So that's the thing. I don't want to hear the people that are like so bored that they're watching Korean baseball sit here and say, I'm not going to watch NASCAR. It's boring. It's lame. You're watching Korean baseball with no fans, man. Like, come on. Like, how is that any better? Like, I don't know, man. I don't understand how that's any better whatsoever. I just don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, at least when you got engines, you got some. You don't hear the crowd in NASCAR, so that's not going to be weird. You don't even really see the crowd in NASCAR. That's not going to be weird at all, like baseball or other sports.
I agree.
So,
Might actually make it safer. Like you don't have to worry about
At the
like
super
crashes and stuff.
speedways, yeah, yeah, because you get cars up in the fence right there and
Yeah,
stuff going into the stands. It's kind of insane. There's like a blast zone around the track at those couple of tracks where if you're sitting like first 5 rows on one of those tracks, you never know. You could get hit with a freaking tire, which doesn't happen, but like it could
yeah,
hypothetically. Like it's not it's just and that has happened. That did happen like 10 years ago. Nobody died, but that did happen. Like a tire went up like actually like 15 rows into the stands. It was insane. Um, but they're going to Talladega like in June 21st or something like that. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I love watching super speedways. Everything else I'm kind of but right now I'll take what I can get.
yeah.
I'll take what I can get. So be interesting to see how like the public receives that because everyone's just like, oh, it's so boring. Everyone's just going left. It's like you can dumb down any sport, right? Oh, they're just dribbling this ball and throwing it through a ring. Oh, football. Oh, they're just running into each other and falling down. Oh, baseball. They're just waving a stick at a ball. Like, you know what I mean? You can dumb down anything. Oh, NASCAR. They're just turning left. You can dumb down anything, but people do it so much with racing and stuff. I don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate NASCAR. I don't like go out of my way to watch it though. Don't really care. I used to watch a little more, like in the '80s.
Oh,
Um,
dude, those were the days.
it felt
Um,
like there was a little more personality. I know there's guys like
oh, there
Kyle Busch
was.
and stuff now, but
There was. There definitely
it
was.
it kind of helps when your racers aren't like boring.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, you have a lot of dry personalities now. It's a problem that like a huge NASCAR fans have said. I mean, like you don't got Jeff Gordon. Now you got Jeff Gordon in the booth. So honestly, having Jeff Gordon in the booth is like having Tony Romo in the booth.
Yeah,
Like they're just so entertaining to listen to. Um. So that's good, but now you got him off the track. You got a lot of guys like that off the track. It's just,
that's why I kind of like the virtual racing stuff because you could watch them like
yeah.
talk while they're racing, and
They should make
like
that
it
a
was a little more
thing.
personal. It seemed
Yeah.
like I know they have like in cam cars too, but like they have their full helmets on and stuff. You can't really see their facial expressions and
Oh yeah.
stuff like that. So like I felt like it was a lot more personal, like you were in the
Hmm.
thing simulator riding with them.
Yeah. That's the thing is they haven't like baseball and NASCAR are kind of similar in the way that they don't connect their fans to their stars. Like they don't
Yeah, I was
market
going to mention baseball.
players or they don't market their drivers or their players at all. The NFL does a better job of that, and the NBA like takes that overboard. Um, the NBA does it too much, but baseball and NASCAR they don't market their personalities enough, and they don't give enough insight into their personalities. Like I can't remember the last time I ever heard Mike Trout talk. You know what I mean? Like, or
Yeah.
I don't know that guy's personality at all. Like, dude's just not, and he's probably the best baseball player right now, right? Like,
I know he's like a Philly fan, like an Eagles fan. That's it.
yeah, it's just those guys aren't really like visible. So that was pretty cool with the whole virtual stuff. It's just cool to see like a video game be embraced like that. In
Yeah.
esport, be embraced like that and have a 1.2 million viewers on Fox. Like that was insane. Because that's the thing. Their first race got like 1.2 million viewers. That's crazy. That's more than they normally get for actual racing. So that shows you that people are bored. So it'll be interesting to the ratings for this.
For sure.
But
Uh,
go ahead.
oh, go ahead. No, you go
Well,
ahead.
I was just gonna say
change.
it's something like you have knowing intricacies of sports helps you enjoy it more. So like with baseball, like knowing the intricacies of the pitcher versus the batter helps you enjoy it a lot more than somebody that doesn't understand those intricacies. It's the same way for a lot of other sports, and it's the same way for NASCAR. Like the intricacies of it help you enjoy it, if that makes sense. Understanding what goes like every little thing that goes into it helps you enjoy it. So I understand why it'd be boring for people. Just like baseball's pretty boring for me unless I'm watching the Mariners, but the Mariners suck, so it's just all around boring for me. Like, I couldn't watch a baseball game without the Mariners being involved, unless it's like Game 7 World Series or something. But like knowing the intricacies of stuff helps you enjoy it. So I hope people just try and learn and give it a chance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they have a real opportunity to get people to actually start caring and wanting to learn about it. So
yeah.
Hopefully for them, they do bring in some people that are like, hey, I remember watching this back in the pandemic, and then when they get to the championship, whatever the thing is called at the end, where they have like the 4 races or whatever, then people will be like, oh, I'm kind of invested in this because I watched some races earlier in the season and I know some of these people now, and he's still in first, maybe they check it out. But yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see.
I'll have to respond to that Ben comment, but the last thing I'm gonna say on it, because I was talking about super speedways earlier, there's something like, I don't know, like it's not a good thing, but also there's something about like the fact that like in 3 seconds somebody could die, like, but like there hasn't been a death in 20 years, you know what I mean? So it's like super safe, but like what happened in Daytona? Like there's an adrenaline factor to watching like Daytona and Talladega just because of how like seemingly dangerous it is and how like something can happen like that, where you have a guy who literally like that dude had his helmet crashed. Actually, he's going to be back racing this weekend, so that's dope. The guy was in that crash, but he had his helmet like crushed in by either the car that hit him or like pieces of his car, and like it's a miracle that he lived. But it's just like something about like the danger of it that is appealing for super speedways, because it's not like something where like people are consistently dying, but it's like dangerous. So
yeah,
can't say that about any other sport.
Driving a car 200 miles per hour is dangerous. Yes.
Dude, I want to just take a joyride out on a track like that with a legit
That'd
car.
Be cool.
Because like if you wreck, it's gonna be scary as hell, but you're gonna be fine driving by yourself.
Right.
Completely fine going 200 miles an hour. So that would be so dope. Like that's one of my dreams, to be able to do that. Which of course I used to dream that I was like a actual NASCAR driver, but that's on my bucket list to go and do something like that. Not like the driving experiences, because you'll see these driving experiences at tracks, and they like dumb down the car, so like you can go only like 150 miles an hour instead of 200 or whatever. I want to go 200 miles an hour at like Daytona or Talladega. So if I ever get super rich, that would be like a good vlog video for like my, when I'm rich and have like a family vlogging channel or whatever. I don't know, I would never have a family vlogging channel, but dude, I want to experience it. That's more your thing. Yeah, with your family vlog channel, Eric. People would watch that. You already know a lot of people would watch that too, like from here. But that'd be so awkward. That'd be so like awkward.
I couldn't do
it. I don't understand how people do that.
We went to Disneyland last summer. I'm so glad we did, because who knows when that place is going to be open again. Yeah. But like before we went, we were trying to get like excited for it, so we watched a bunch of those vlogs and stuff, and it's just wow. It's just crazy world. But yeah, so I was taking a few videos. I wasn't doing a vlog or anything, but like, I was trying to take pictures and document our trip and stuff, and my oldest daughter was like, what are you doing? This stuff stupid. Like, I'm just doing a video. It's not for YouTube or anything. Don't worry about it.
Every little picture or video you take now, people assume your family assumes it's for YouTube or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're just going to blast it out to almost 3,000 people on the channel. We got to hit 3,000.
Yeah. God. All right, so answer Ben's question.
Oh, yeah. Tori's a Mariners fan but doesn't like the Seahawks. SMH. Yeah, my dad was a Niners fan. My dad was also a Yankees fan, but we never watched baseball together, so I had no affinity for the Yankees. We watched a ton of San Francisco 49ers together. So I grew up rooting for the Niners with my dad, and therefore I'm a Niners fan. Makes a complete sense. Like, I wish I wasn't a Mariners fan.
And Ben doesn't even live around here. I don't think he realizes we're not Seattle. Portland's not anywhere close to Seattle. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of close, but like, yeah, it's fun to go up to Mariners games, but it's not our hometown team or anything. So there's no reason to be like, oh, we have to root for everything Seattle if Portland doesn't have a team.
Yeah,
That's not how we feel here.
exactly. If Portland got a baseball team, I'd immediately pledge my allegiance to that team. And screw the Mariners, they can go off and miss another 20 straight playoffs, as far as I'm concerned.
That's when they'd win the World Series.
Yeah, for real. I mean, like, I'd still be, like, a fan at a distance. Like, that'd be, like, my second team, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be, like, Niners and Seahawks. I can't stand the Seahawks. Like,
That's why I was really hoping if we do get a team. I mean, I'd take it either way. Like, I'd rather have a team than not have a team this way. But if I had to choose, I would pick expansion because it would be so much more fun to pick up on all the nuances you were talking about like fielding the minor league team and setting up an expansion team and learning about like the CBA for baseball and building a team and what the best strategy are to do that and all. Like, I think that would be really fun to just start from ground zero and kind of watch them grow and develop and stuff. But yeah, that's something that's probably not on the table right now.
I wish it was, man. The NBA and the MLB need to go to 32 teams, as far as I'm concerned. The NBA needs to put a team in Seattle and then put a team somewhere else. You know, everybody's like Vegas, but I'm not as high on Vegas. They just got 2 sports teams. You know, I don't think they need sports in every league. Like, they're not a super big city. It's more of like a tourist destination. I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of people there would still be like Laker fans or something. I don't know. I don't think that Vegas needs a basketball team. You know, I'd maybe look at like a St. Louis, who just lost the Rams. St. Louis would be a city, you know, like, because St. Louis and Kansas City, neither of those cities have a basketball team, so maybe a team like that. And then you'd move like Memphis to the east, like Destrom says, or something like that. And then in baseball, Portland and I don't know where else. Maybe New Orleans doesn't have a baseball team, do they?
No, I've heard Nashville was a.
Nashville.
I want and Montreal too, but
Montreal, I think definitely Seattle and Montreal because they never show lost team.
My guess is that Tampa will eventually move to Montreal because they get like no fan support where they're at.
Bro, Florida doesn't watch baseball.
No,
it's so weird, man. It'd be so weird to see the Marlins make the World Series and then all of a sudden they have a packed stadium with fans that like are going crazy. But it's like, you've been here since a week ago. Like, I don't know. I mean, they just need to cut their ties with Florida baseball at this point.
Well, both World Series they won, they immediately like traded off their whole team.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like, we would support a team up here in Portland. So move. I don't know. Like, I'd take a relocation team. I'd prefer an expansion team for sure, like you said. I wonder if we got an expansion team. I wonder if like the Hops would become one of our affiliates, or they'd still be an affiliate of what? The Padres? I think they're an affiliate of the Padres.
I think they're Diamondbacks right now.
One of the teams down there, yeah. So I wonder if like we'd get them or what. It'd be cool to have a minor league team up here in Vancouver. Build a stadium on the Columbia River. You know, they're building that huge waterfront project. Having a minor league stadium next to that on the river would be insane, dude. Like, I would go to minor league baseball games just for the like experience, just right next to the waterfront, beautiful summer days. Like, that would be fun.
Yeah.
So, Portland, it's a perfect climate for summer baseball too.
Going to baseball games is by far the most fun for me out of the like sporting events you can go to.
More so than basketball, than Blazer games?
Yep.
Why is that? That's weird.
I don't know. There's just something about like how you could have a ball hit to you at any moment, or like just kind of the experience, like just being outside on a nice day, and the grass is all neat, and I don't know.
It's like more relaxing.
Just a cool atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah, especially since you're not like super invested like you are with the Blazers.
I was always like obsessed with catching foul balls or home runs or getting baseballs and stuff when I was little. So that was always so fun because like you would sit on the edge of your seat the whole game because at any moment a ball could be fouled off towards you. You know.
I have one.
Nice.
I have one. My mom's ex. This was like years ago. This was like 10, 11 years ago. We were sitting behind home plate. We were sitting literally like under the press boxes. The press boxes were up above us. Of course, you have the net in front of them. So, like, we didn't think there was any chance a ball could get to us because, like, either it'd be too low and hit the net or too high and hit the press box. Like, there's this foul ball. And we were, like, kind of, like, directly behind, but, like, a little bit towards, like, a right-handed hitter's side. So it was just, like, the angle just didn't make sense either. So it was just like, I got there. I was kind of bummed. I'm like, there's no way we're going to get a foul ball. There's this foul ball that was hit perfectly, barely missed the net and, like, barely missed the press box. My mom's boyfriend at the time just sprung up, literally, like, caught it extended both hands, caught it with both hands. His hands were all bruised because it came screaming off the bat. He caught it, just handed it to me. I was just like, holy shit. Because I had always wanted, I was kind of obsessed with that as a kid, Kids, that's what you're obsessed with. If you go to a baseball game, you want a foul ball hit to you. You want a foul ball, the foul ball that you wanted, the baseball that they play with. That's cool. Like,
yeah.
So I still have it. I don't know if I have it here. I don't think I have it here. I think I have it like in storage or something, but I have it like I got like a certificate of like who hit it and the date and whatnot, and it's like in like this little like plastic case, and yeah,
that's nice.
So
yeah, I want to make a statement because Russell Westbrook was talking about close basketball games being more fun. Obviously, I'd rather be at Game 5 against OKC last year and watch Dame hit a 37-foot shot to win a game than be at some meaningless baseball game in July. That's not necessarily what I was saying. I'm just, like, middle of the regular season, like a meaningless game, I'd rather have the atmosphere of a baseball game than a basketball or football game. But also, like, going to games at, like, Oregon State and college and stuff, that the environment there where the crowd's just, like, going crazy for 3 hours, that's pretty fun too.
Yeah, I've only been to one college basketball game, and it was on winter break, so there was no like student section. It was a Gonzaga game, so there was like really no student section, so it wasn't. I mean, like, it was free. My high school basketball team was up there, but also I wasn't like super connected to that Gonzaga team either, so it wasn't even like that fun. I don't know.
But can you imagine being like a Duke fan and being like in the Cameron Crazies for a game or something? That'd be pretty cool.
Insane. That'd be insane. College.
You have to jump for 2 hours straight.
God, man, you'd be sore at the end of that. I wish NBA crowds were a little bit more like that.
Yeah.
But, kind of are in playoffs, but not like crazy, like college fans are, because college fans are crazy.
Yeah. Or soccer fans.
Yeah. Imagine if they built a football stadium next to the Nike campus. It would be so beautiful. If Portland got an NFL team, I would not want the stadium out there. That's all I gotta say. I know you're that direction, so you'd be fine having it out there, but I wouldn't want it out there.
Yeah, it just seems weird to have it in the suburbs. Like, it should be in downtown somewhere.
Yeah, downtown, partly for traffic reasons. Because you have traffic congregating in the center, instead of like having to go from all to one direction out to a stadium, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. Like, but the thing is, there's really no plots of land that are big enough in downtown. They had that. They turned it into like a terminal or something. I forget. It was like South Waterfront. It was like directly south of the. What's the I-5 bridge? The south one? The one that, like, right before it meets back up with 405 if you're heading south. Is it the Morse? I don't know the bridge names. Some people are going to be like, you idiot. If you're heading south on I-5, it, like, curves right, goes back over the river with that double-deck bridge and meets back up with 405 right after that. Directly to the south, there was, like, this huge plot of land that was unused that would have been perfect for a stadium. Right on the Willamette River. And then they used a bunch of that land and like put in like a small little terminal right in the middle of it. So like a bunch of that land is unused, but now there's like this terminal in the middle of it, which I think they could. I'm gonna look up Google Maps because I'm curious. Because that was always like my ideal spot. Because there's only plot of land big enough to have an NFL stadium like in downtown. Because NFL stadiums are big, man. Like a lot easier to put in even a baseball stadium. Oh, they turned it into the Joseph R. Robertson Collaborative Life Museum? Is that a museum? Life Sciences Building. Okay, cool. And OHSU employee waterfront drama. Yeah, they just kind of turned into some random crap. But it was like, what's that bridge called? The Markham Bridge. The Markham Bridge and the Ross Island Bridge in between those two.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because there's really nowhere else. Unless they did it where they were planning to do a baseball stadium. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that they'll ever get an NFL team.
Yeah, it's all moo anyway. Um, but baseball is more realistic. I don't know. The NFL, at some point, I think they're gonna expand to 36. I don't know how soon that will be though. But you know, the NFL, they love their money. I mean, all sports leagues love their money. If there's money to be had, I mean, they're trying to like ruin a perfect regular season playoff system just to make more money right now. You know, so I don't doubt that they'd expand it to 36 teams. So maybe that's on the table in the next 10 years. I don't know. But I feel like Portland would be one of the cities up for grabs there. I don't know what else.
Well, they've been talking about with all these sports just making like a huge expansion fee, and that's a way for some of these owners to recoup money immediately by adding a couple teams. Like in the NBA, if it was they just made it like $3 billion, you'd still have people paying for that most likely. I mean, some city would step up with some owner.
You'd have like Jeff Bezos up in Seattle being rich as hell, being like, sure, why not?
Yeah, and then yep. I mean, he could afford to build like the fanciest stadium in the league, and
that'd be dope, man. I'd love to go up to Seattle to watch a Blazers Sonics game. I never really got that experience, so I'd love that.
I watched the last Blazer game up there. It was pretty cool.
That's dope.
But that arena was a dump. I couldn't believe they played an NBA game.
Imagine going up to like a state of the art arena.
Yeah,
that's the dream, man. I mean, baseball in Portland, basketball in Seattle, NFL in Portland would be dope, but it'd be a little awkward because I don't know who to root for in that scenario. Hopefully they'd be like an AFC team, so I'd just literally be a Portland NFL team and a San Francisco fan like at the same time, which would be interesting. But my chances for a Super Bowl would go up. So
yeah, I think that's one of the only times you could switch allegiances and not seem like a front runner, is if your city got a team.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, because then that's like hometown loyalty. That's the opposite of being like a bandwagon fan, is being like loyal to your hometown team. So if you get a hometown team, yeah, but I don't know. And then the next 10 years will be interesting to see how that plays out, because NBA hasn't expanded in a while, baseball hasn't expanded in a while, football hasn't expanded in a while. The NHL just started kind of expanding a little bit, so they're like the only league that's really looking at it. So I'm wondering which the league is the first to break: Major League Baseball, NBA, or NFL. If you had to take your bet, who would you say is the first league to expand out of those three?
Baseball.
Baseball? I feel
just because it's already kind of been on the table.
Yeah.
But yeah.
At the same time, there's not a ton of demand for baseball.
Yeah, but that's a way to branch out into two more cities, because baseball is one of the more like regional things. Like ratings for baseball in Portland have always been good, but there's a lot of cities like when their team isn't in it, they don't watch or whatever. So the more cities that have a team would probably keep more fans' interest. But they still have to figure out how to. They have a couple of teams like the A's and the Rays that they need to figure out their situations before they can expand, or at least that's what they've said. I heard the Portland Diamond Project at the owners' meetings a few months ago went and said, like, look, why are you waiting for these teams? They're not stepping up and doing anything. Like, we're ready to go and build a stadium. Like, why not just decide to expand and then figure it out? Like, why are you waiting? So I don't know if that's an option or not, but I could see that being the next league.
Yeah. That's kind of why I'm hesitant, is because there is so many teams. Two situations are up in the air, and I don't know. I think Major League Baseball, as it's been reported, would look at moving those teams first. Whereas the NBA, you don't have any team like that. Support for every NBA team is pretty good. Like even the ones that don't draw a lot of fans, the support is still pretty good considering you're still filling up half the stadium compared to Marlins games, who you'll have like 500 fans in a 40,000 fan stadium or whatever. Like it's insane. Um, so the NBA doesn't really have a team like that, and we know that I'm pretty sure that they want to put a team in Vegas. Vegas already has a stadium. Seattle is renovating. Aren't they like completely renovating where Key Arena was, or what Key Arena was?
Yeah, again, yeah, for that, for hockey, yeah.
Yeah, but like you could play basketball in there too, so you have two stadiums ready to go.
Well, Kansas City has that stadium they built like 10 years ago or something. It's just sat there with no tenant.
So, I mean, like basketball, I feel like basketball talent is getting better. Like more and more people are playing basketball. Like the youth is playing basketball more and more. I don't know. I feel like some people say, "Oh, you watered down the league." Honestly, I don't think the league would be that watered down. I mean, stars, still stacked on one team. That might be two more bad teams or whatever, but it's not like how it was like 15 years ago where you had multiple like bad organizations. You had like the Raptors who mishandled their tenure when they had Vince Carter, and you had the Bucks, and you had like a lot of just like mediocre garbage franchises. Honestly, like right now, even the bad franchises, like New York is trash, but like Phoenix isn't as bad as those organizations were. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the quality of bad organizations has gone up. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. It seems like there's a lot more younger star players too than there used to be. So like, yeah, it's a little sparse at times, some of the teams, but yeah, I don't think it would hurt that much to have two more teams.
Yeah, I think it'd be completely fine if you have three destination cities. I think St. Louis might have a stadium that would work for it too. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but you have like destination cities with stadiums already in place where you wouldn't have to like build a stadium. Cities that the NBA would want to go to, because they definitely want to return to Seattle, and they probably want to go to Vegas. You'd have two like, I mean, Vegas doesn't have like a state of the art arena, but still a pretty nice arena. In Seattle, you'd have basically a brand new arena as well. It makes sense geographically because you have like Memphis in the West. It makes sense for playoff reasons too. I don't know. It makes a ton of sense for me for the NBA to expand. I don't know what they're waiting for. I think that is something that they should heavily consider with them struggling for money is, $3 billion expansion fee. They should heavily consider that. The players win there, they get their money. The NBA wins there, the owners win there, they get their money. People buying into the league win because they obviously would want to buy into the league and they'd be able to. I don't see a loser in that scenario. And maybe you wait until like 2022. I don't know what the plan is. They've kind of pushed back on the plans for a super draft, but honestly, the best first year for an expansion teams would be in 2022 with that super draft if they went through with that super draft. Just because you'd add two teams, you'd kind of even it out a little bit more compared to having just an absolutely stacked draft for 30 teams. You'd have it for 32. I don't know. It makes a ton of sense to me. I want to see it happen.
Pedro of Truth News says Knicks are a bad reference for better ran teams. I don't think he meant that. I think he just meant that their fan support is still there despite them being crappy for 20 years.
Their fan support is there. I said the Knicks because they're probably the worst ran organization. They're like the only organization I feel like that you can compare to like some of the terribly ran organizations that were just garbage 15 years ago. 10 to 15 years ago, the Bucks, the Raptors for a while, before, Chris Bosh got good, like that, the way they handled Vince Carter. I was actually watching a lot on that, and it just reminded me of how bad some franchises used to be. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot of like even the branding of a lot of teams used to just be absolute garbage. Whereas like because the Raptors branding I thought used to be garbage in like the mid 2000s, 2005, 2006. The Bucks with the green and red, like I don't know, like just there used to be a lot of bad organizations with terrible branding, with terrible management, with just like absolutely horrible rosters. And now I don't think that's really much of a issue anymore. So the Knicks are like the only team, but like the Knicks are the Knicks. They're still going to draw fans. I mean, the Suns, you could say, but like branding wise, they're fine. Management wise, they got a new GM. They got some talent there. They got Devin Booker. They got DeAndre Ayton. They got some players. I mean, the Cavs, but they just won a championship with LeBron. And then LeBron left, so they're just rebuilding. I don't know what other like terrible organizations you can think of. I mean, maybe the Kings, but like the Kings are competitive, like decently competitive right now. Not great, but have a chance of making playoffs. Like, what other super bad organizations are there?
Well, I think the other thing is too with social media now. It's I mean, I know this isn't necessarily the case, but you would think these organizations would think a little bit more before they make decisions because they don't want to get clowned on social media. Like the Rams' new logos. Like, what were they thinking?
God,
you know what I mean?
Are
like
horrible. The jerseys too, man.
Yeah. It's like stuff like that. You would think that organizations would have like major test groups and get it right before they just come out with something like that they're stuck with for several years before they can switch them. But like, so yeah, even the teams that make bad decisions, they're going to change their ways really quickly. Like if Vlade Divac and the Kings make a few bad trades, like they're going to get clowned, and then they might hesitate to make trades or whatever. So
Washington and Bulls, neither of those teams have been bad for that long, though. Neither of those teams have been bad for that long. In Washington, you still got Bradley Beal. John Wall just got hurt. But Washington, like, they've done a good job of getting good young talent for very, very cheap in the past year. You know what I mean? Like, the bad organizations that I'm talking about haven't done that. But Washington, you picked up Wagner. You picked up Bryant for basically nothing. You picked up Bertans on, if you got really good value on getting Bertans if they keep them, because they only gave up, what'd they give up for Bertans?
I think they just got him for like cash or something, because the Spurs needed to clear his salary to sign Marcus Morris, and then Marcus Morris bounced on him.
Yeah, so I mean, their whole front court, Bryant, Wagner, Bertans, they signed Pasisniks. That was good value. Like, they've made a lot of good value moves in the past year. And before that, they weren't bad. So that's not like an organization like that. The Bulls, it's more like their management isn't, I don't know.
They just switched that too, so
yeah,
that should be bad. They had the same management for like 20 years. So.
That Boylan's just not, should not be an NBA coach, But like, they still have talent. They still have Zach LaVine. They got Markkanen, who kind of was in this past year, but young talent. They got Wendell Carter Jr., got Otto Porter. Like, they have some decent pieces, Obviously, they're still a bad team for sure, but they haven't even been bad for that long. And then when they got bad, they completely cleaned house with management, or reassigned guys, whatever. So they made quick decisions instead of just sitting on bad management for like 5 years, because I feel that like that used to really happen in the past. Charlotte,
Well, Charlotte's problem is they got a few years ago when they signed Williams and Biyombo and MKG and all those guys, like they're kind of stuck. Batum, their roster, they had all these not great players on huge contracts, and now you're finally at the end of that, where other than Batum, they're pretty much all expiring this year, and they can start to hopefully make better decisions moving forward. They brought in Kupchak, I think, a year or so ago, and they haven't gotten any like bad salary since, but they're also not like, because I mean, someone could come in and like give up a couple firsts to get rid of Batum last year or something, and they haven't made dumb decisions like that. Just keep your draft picks and rebuild and eat his contract, and So yeah, I think they'll get better. Yeah,
they did give out one really bad contract though. in the past year. Terry Rozier.
Oh, Rozier, yeah.
You know, I'm not a fan of Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
that could be looked
It was
at.
a 3-year deal.
They were going to lose Kemba anyway, so they got something back. But at least it was a 3-year deal. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is with those contracts, a lot of teams gave out terrible contracts. So it wasn't even just like, oh, look at the Hornets, they're terrible. It was like, oh, everybody's paying everyone. You could be a center averaging 4 points per game, and you're going to get $15 million. Here you go, Biombo. Here you go, Mozgov. Here you go, Mahid Me. Like,
that was the summer of 2016.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it was numerous guys. Here you go, Evan Turner. Here you go, Alan Crabb. God, man, it was everybody. It was even Olshey. Like, it was literally everyone. So, you know, can't really fault. You know, you can fault an organization, but it's not somewhere I look at like, oh, those guys are so much worse than everybody else. They're a horrible organization because everybody was doing it. So, I mean, like the latest example of that was Brooklyn when they gave up all those unprotected picks, and then that completely flamed out and they were screwed. But you know that management was gone, and the management that got put in place recovered really well from that. And now I don't think any organization is going to make the same mistake Brooklyn did and give up all those unprotected first-round picks that could end up being at the top of the draft.
Yeah. I guess both LA teams just did that this last summer, though.
But they did it to truly contend. The thing is, the Nets did it to what? Make the second round? You know what I mean? They weren't a top 5, 6, 7 team in the league.
They thought they would, but
the Lakers did it, and they're the first seed in the West right now with LeBron, and they got AD. They got 2 of the top 6, 7 players in the world. The Clippers did it to get both Kawhi and Paul George. So they give up unprotected picks, but that doesn't they did it to truly contend because both those teams are true contenders for the next 3 years. Where Brooklyn had a 1-year window where they weren't even that good.
Unless Kawhi and Paul George both leave next summer.
That could happen, but the risk versus reward here.
Right.
You know, it's a risk, but both those guys wanted to come there. Both those guys are from there, so you assume they're going to resign, and the reward is the Clippers are going to win a championship. The reward is you got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and good pieces around them, Harrell, Beverly. That team's really, really, really good. So
those guys are still in their primes too, versus Garnett and Pearson. Those guys were at the end of their career.
That was the thing. It was a huge risk for no reward because that team wasn't constructed to win a championship after that. That team wasn't even a contender after that. You had aging veterans. You know, Joe Johnson was kind of. Did they have him at that point? I forget when they got Joe Johnson.
Yeah, they had Johnson.
They had Garnett. They had Pierce. They didn't get Allen. They had
Darren Williams.
Who
just fell off the map.
But you're also trying to go up against the Miami Heat super team. It wasn't even I don't know. It wasn't something where I could see them winning a championship. So it was a bad move in that regard. And the thing is, I don't think you'll ever see a team. I mean, never say never. Who knows? 20 years in the next 20 years, it could happen for sure. But I don't think teams are that careless with giving away unprotected picks anymore. Now teams protect their picks because teams have learned from that.
That's what we tried to teach people in our mock-off season 2.
Mm-hmm. And
that's why Bleacher Report's stupid.
Yeah, I mean Bleacher Report's dumb as hell. Bleacher Report's stuck 20 years in the past. But I mean this kind of goes to my overall point. I think organizations have learned from the mistakes of organizations past, and collectively organizations have learned how to better manage their assets, and therefore I think it's resulted in a situation where you don't really have any terribly, terribly ran organizations that are doing stuff like giving up 4 unprotected picks for, 36, 37-year-old vets what Brooklyn did. You don't see organizations like that. You don't see
pick swaps.
Yeah, I mean, organizations are a lot better ran now, I think, because they've learned from the past. And not even necessarily their own past, but the past of other organizations. Just with, teams learning to not give away 4 protected picks.
Well, when Olshey was GM of the Clippers, he traded the Cavs their unprotected first-round pick to take on Baron Davis's huge contract after he sucked, and then that ended up being the number 1 pick. And so ever since, trades like that um, make it to where, yeah, you better learn from those kind of trades, and that's why we said never to do an unprotected pick because you never know
Yeah.
who could get hurt that year.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at the Blazers this year would have traded an unprotected pick for someone, and then they have the year they have, and let's say they finish like with the 12th worst record or whatever, and then they somehow get the first pick,
Better
and we
example.
traded
Yeah.
unprotected.
Better example is like Golden State could have traded an unprotected pick a couple of
Oh
years
right,
ago. Their unprotected
yeah,
pick this year, they're going to be a top 5 pick. Because Golden State's the worst team in the league right now. Like, that's going to be a top 5 pick. 2 years ago, they could have been just as justified as any team to trade away an unprotected first-round pick because they had the dynasty and their guys weren't old. You know, it's still going to be good in 2020. You know, when you're looking at this 2 years ago, so they could have given up an unprotected first. Like, oh, we're a dynasty. We have all this talent. All our guys are like in their primes, and will still be in their primes in 2020. So, like, yeah, we could give up an unprotected first, and then look, you know, this year. Look what happens. That's why you always protect your first, because now they're shockingly the worst team in the league. You know, shockingly 2 years ago. Imagine say 2 years from now they're going to be the worst team in the league. Like, you never know what
you would
could
have
happen.
thought they traded everyone or
Yeah, you
something.
thought they traded anyone or injuries, which injuries happened. Klay Thompson hurt. Durant left. Iguodala they traded for money reasons. Like, you know, stuff can happen quickly in the NBA from year to year. So that's why you always protect your picks. That's why we were criticizing people for not protecting their picks. That's why we tried to warn people to protect their picks in our mock offseason.
Well, the like Bleacher Report offseason, they don't care anything about other than showing the best possible roster at the end of it. So they're not going to, like the teams that have traded all their future unprotected picks, they're not going to show, oh, for the next 10 years, we only have 5 of our picks left or whatever. They're going to be like, oh, look at my roster now. Like, look how good it is. But not because there's no consequence for trading away all those unprotected picks like there would be in real life or in a game like ours where we told you it could go past this offseason. But yeah, it's so they just have no consequences for the value of those picks. So but yeah, like the Denver trading an unprotected first for Beal, that makes completely sense, like complete sense. But like
Because you're gaining a, you know, top,
like
maybe
one of the
top
top
15
players,
player, you know, top 20 player.
yeah.
Like,
But the Celtics giving up 2 first-round picks unprotected for Shake Milton, no matter how high you are on Shake Milton, that's probably a little
that's
too much. You
terrible.
know? Yeah.
I'm sorry, Destra, but yeah. I mean, Jason Tatum gets hurt, Jaylen Brown gets hurt, Kemba's aging, you know. That could be the first overall pick, man. I mean, just
It's also driving me crazy that league is run by media members, but it's like this team
don't even get me started on this.
this team gets a trade exception or like like that's part of their trades. Have you seen that?
What, misusing trade exceptions?
Yeah, it's like so and so gets these players and the other team gets these players and a $2 million trade exception or whatever. But they're like including it as like the other team is trading them the trade exception. If that makes sense.
Don't even get me started. I already made a video yesterday ranting about media. You could get me ranting for
Just look at some of the earlier trades. They all say like and 2.8 million TPE or something like in the trade.
I'm like
when it's like
cringing right now.
But like it would make sense if like you traded Westbrook for Lowry and you got like a $5 million TPE because of the salary difference, but that's not what it was. It was like they were including that as part of the trade back and forth. Yeah, it's the 2K mentality where people just do 1-year rebuilds and don't care about what the future consequences of that rebuild are. They just want to show what it would do for the team right now.
Hey, just stay tuned the next year, man. I've told like 3-4 people privately what I've told you, Eric. But yeah, just stay tuned the next year, because there could be something next year that's like insanely good in terms of a mock off season. Let me just say that.
And then you got like the Kerry Akers article where it's just filled with cap misinformation. It's just hard to read stuff like that from a media member that should know better, that doesn't take the time to fact check his article
Yeah.
before he posts it.
Yeah, I mean the media is just like driving me crazy yesterday. That Kerry Eggers thing. At least he admitted, okay, sorry for the misinformation.
Yeah.
And then he said, Whiteside won't return because he doesn't want to be a backup. Well, there's really nowhere he can go that he can get paid and start that really makes sense for him. Because only teams that would be like rebuilding teams. But I don't think they'd pay him because he doesn't make sense for a rebuilding team. And I think he likes playing in Portland. So to say he won't be back because he doesn't want to come off the bench, I don't agree with that. But at least that's like a valid argument compared to saying Portland only has their taxpayer mid-level exception and Whiteside's not going to sign for that cheap. Because the issues with that is, one, we have bird rights on Whiteside, so we don't need to use a mid-level exception on him. We can sign him for whatever. And two, if you're not accounting for Whiteside, we definitely have our full mid-level exception. And even after accounting for Whiteside, we probably still have our full mid-level exception. So we're not just limited to the taxpayer anyway. And the thing is, you'll have somebody like that put out an article, and the Blazer fans will be confused for the next 2 months. You know what I mean? Because, like, people... I mean, Kerry Eggers, not many people pay attention to him. But, like, if, Chad Doing says that, or Pinwheel Empire says that, or, which has happened, somebody with, like, a really large following says that, then you'll have fans arguing with us based off the misinformation they were fed from one of those sources. Mm-hmm. And then we have to try and correct it, and we have to try and correct it, and we have to try and teach these people. Like, and then it just all thrown away when somebody...
That's why I really hope, like, doing stuff like the mock-off season, then, you have people like Trevin on Twitter who sees this stuff, and he's like, wait a minute, that's not true, and he recognizes it at the same time we do when we read that kind of stuff, and I'm proud of people like that, and I'm happy that, like,
basically we're just making you feel our pain, guys. Making them feel our pain.
Thanks, Alvaro. Nice of you to say. But yeah, so... Yeah, the other thing about it is he talked about how the Blazers are in the repeater tax, but the repeater tax doesn't take place until you've been in the tax for 3 out of the last 4 years. So the Blazers paying the tax 1 year doesn't matter for next year, and we'll now pay 2 years. So it doesn't matter if we're in the tax next year or not as far as the repeater tax goes.
Yeah, the repeater tax is something that, like, fans don't even really have to worry about. It only becomes relevant in, like,
but that's exactly why
it doesn't usually become relevant.
We knew that it was going to be tough to avoid the tax last year and this year. So by trading a Vonleh, yes, it sucks as a fan to give away a guy like that to get under the tax, but that's like why we did it, so that next year we aren't in the repeater tax. So that and then it drives me crazy when someone's like, oh, we were in the tax 1 year, that means that next year you're in the repeater tax, and they have to pay more money this year, which we didn't have to.
Like, the repeater tax is basically extra penalties for being in the tax too many years prior to that. And just like kind of the basic thing. So basically you just have to pay more money. You have to pay more tax if you're in the repeater tax than if you're just regularly in the tax. So that's why organization would want to avoid that, because they don't want to be paying, $3 for every $5 million. They don't want to pay $3 for every dollar they're over the tax, because that's the thing. It'll end up where, like, if you're $5 million over the tax, you have to pay $20 million of tax on top of that $5 million.
Captain.
It's like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, Captain that's the problem with this organization. So, but no, I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like, you don't even have to, like, even if they were, don't put that in unless you know for sure they are. You know what I mean? They're not. That's the thing. It's like, why would you put that into the article if you're Kerry, if you're not entirely, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to even include that if you're not knowledgeable about it like that.
I mentioned this on a stream before, but it was like 6 or 7 hours after the Scal trade, and I heard an interview with Jason Quick, and he was asked, like, so did this get the Blazers out of the tax? And he was like, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to find that out for you. It's like, how do you not know that answer to that question? Like, you're paid to cover the Blazers. And someone like Kerry Eggers covers plenty of sports, so, like, I can understand if he's not 100% on all. But Jason Quick is just an NBA Blazers reporter.
You have to spend 30 seconds to know.
Right.
Like,
He should have known going into the day how much money they had to clear to get under the salary cap, and then thought, oh well, Scal only makes this much, so no, they didn't clear the tax. But that was, especially when you make a trade for tax purposes, to not know that just seems kind of weird. And then it drives me crazy that, like, if I was a actually getting paid for being a Blazer media member, I would study up on, so I knew all the rules and do that. I do that stuff anyway, and I'm not even getting paid for it.
yeah.
So.
Well, you know what's crazy is, like, I already kind of knew this, but the realization just kind of, like, set in more. We really are the most trustworthy source for Blazer fans when it comes to, like, financial information about the team, CBA information about the team, and, like, the options the team has available in terms of, like, roster construction, in terms of stuff like that. We are the most trustworthy source, even more trustworthy than Dwight James, who kind of gets his information fed from a source inside the organization and gets fed what to say. We're more trustworthy than anybody else covering the team.
Yeah, so like when someone says like Rip City Project or something, yeah, just let Whiteside go and then we have 10 million in cap. Well, are you letting Ariza go too? Like, no. Like, then, we have people now that know, okay, well, you're paying Ariza, we're not under the cap then if we're keeping Ariza. Like, we don't have 10 million. Yeah, we do. If we that's 27 million we're letting walk. Like, no, that's not how it works. Like, so I'm proud of people that they're starting to pick up on
you
that.
guys into our properly trained army of people to shut that crap down on Twitter. That's all this has been. That's all the mock off season was for. It was just to, like, turn you guys into, like, mindless, zombies that just spit CBA facts like us, So.
Except for I broke Dame Dollar's brain.
for Dame Dollar. I mean, honestly, like, I think that video was not hard to understand, which I understand if somebody doesn't understand, like, that video. It's kind of like a lot of information, but given what we've done with the mock off season, like, I think that video, like, I think doing that after the mock off season was good for people. I think it was easier for people to understand it after, like, doing hands-on stuff with the mock off season, with learning stuff through, like, participating, trying to run a team, and having to be consistently reminded sometimes, no, you can't attach salary with players. No, you can't trade that first-round pick because you go 2 years in a row without a first-round pick. AM Productions. No, Houston cannot do that. So, I don't know.
They still don't have picks to trade.
Because the thing is, people love talking about trades, but don't care enough to, like, know about the CBA. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like, if you care so much about talking trades, don't you want to know, like, what's possible and what's logical? And don't you want to, like, know how to evaluate, like, a trade properly? Don't you want to know if it works when Bleacher Report, like, throws some crap out there? Like,
well, okay, like, I know there's a lot of these mock-off seasons, and most of the time people don't care about the financial stuff. They do, like, a fantasy draft and just trade players, and you can combine players, they don't care, and all that stuff. It just makes it more fun for certain people who don't care. But, like, the Bleacher Report thing should have been even more realistic than us, because you had NBA, like, writers doing it, and they should have followed the rules and made it much more realistic to show. Instead of just making it a fantasy trade thing, like, make it an actual thing to show fans that you can't just build a fantasy roster like that. That's not possible to do. but yeah, I don't get the point of, like, allowing teams to combine salary immediately and make trades that aren't possible into the CBA, just for content, like.
yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be better to have content that was actually, like, realistic, and then people could be like, oh, whoa, would you actually trade Russell Westbrook for that instead of, like, the crap they traded,
Yeah, for real. Yeah, because, like, that's the thing. Realistic trade ideas spark, like, proper discussion about it,
Yeah.
Like, oh, would this team actually consider that? This is a possible option for them. Does it make sense for them? Would they possibly consider it with the position they're in, compared to, like, oh, this fantasy trade they can't even consider because it's not possible? And, like, I don't know. That's why it's like, when I see terrible trade ideas and trades that don't work, it just makes me cringe, because it's like, because people still talk about that don't know any better, but it's like, it's a lot of their discussion is completely pointless because it's not even an option for these teams. I'd rather, have people be educated. We could actually discuss stuff that's actually possible, that actually might be on the table,
And then you have a guy like Sean Hyken, who's one of his arguments is that Thaddeus Young is on a good contract, and then you have Kerry Eggers saying later how much financially restricted they are, how they won't be able to pay Whiteside. So even with those two moves, you have two different people saying completely opposite things about the situation, and neither of them are right.
I guarantee you, Olshey probably reads this stuff and just laughs at how stupid people are. Olshey, let me just talk to Olshey real quick. I know I've been critical of you, but at least I know my shit. At least I know the CBA. At least I'm not gonna go out there and blame you for, not
trading for Thaddeus Young.
Yeah, or just not doing something that you can't possibly do. At least I'm not telling people that, Whiteside won't be back because they could only spend the taxpayer on him. At least I'm not misinforming people. So I know I'm critical of you, but I've been, there's some things that I've been supportive. I'm supportive of your summer last season, and I know my stuff. I actually am critical of you because I know my stuff instead of just being some guy that thinks he knows his stuff. So you gotta respect that.
Trevin asks, are the Mavs able to trade their 2021 pick in real life? The answer is no, but I think in that game it was the Knicks that traded it, and the Knicks have it in real life. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Unless there was a trade I missed, but the one with the Knicks trading it to Houston, I think it was
Minnesota's pick from Golden State. I think. I don't know how that happened. I don't know who they traded to Golden State, but
so the Knicks could trade the Mavs pick.
Yeah.
In real life, I think that's what happened.
What if O'Shea watched this video? I did find True Blazer fan from just suggestions on the Blazers YouTube. That'd be crazy, but honestly, my stuff doesn't get suggested much to random people. It's kind of been a problem. It got suggested a lot almost a year ago, so I'm trying to get the channel back to that point. I just gotta figure it out. I think I gotta upload more consistently and upload. I don't know. I kind of got a plan, but I'm not gonna go into it now. I saw Ben earlier said something about, can we talk about our newest trades on our mock off season? Monday I think would be a good mock off season related stream. Not today. I'm about to sign off with this stream, but Monday could maybe have a little plan in place for the sim and whatnot, and could possibly go into that and talk about some of your guys' most recent trades that we haven't talked about, and just make it based on the mock off season, because I don't know what else we'd talk about. So that'll probably be a mock off season stream. I mean, actually, you know what, we didn't know what we were talking about this stream, but I thought it was pretty good. We segued into a bunch of different content and conversations. That's what I was trying to say. Segued into a bunch of different conversations. It was good for not having a shred of a plan for this thing. See, now I'm going off the rails with my word selection here. Anyway, let me recollect. Monday, mock off season. We'll talk about that then. And I'm gonna have a couple videos out over the weekend. Hopefully, I'll definitely have one out Saturday or Sunday. I still want to get out stream highlights. It's just a lot of work. Have been kind of slowly grinding on it, but I do other stuff and put that on the back burner. So I'm gonna try and work on that a little bit and see how that goes, and I'll keep you guys updated in Discord. So just stay tuned this weekend, and Monday we'll have a mock off season stream. So,
and in case you missed it, so you can trade draft picks now that you've signed. It's been 30 days in our mock-off season. We're still about 20 days or so from being able to combine some of the earlier trade salaries, so still a little bit of ways away from that.
Well, hopefully we'll be into the season by then. So, based on where we are in the season is when you can trade them. I think. So, the timeline will kind of go from 30 days. 30 days means 30 days to we'll do 30 days and 4 days.
Yeah,
so.
Once we start the season, you can just have the dates on the calendar in the 2K Sims.
Yep.
Be the timeline, but I'm just trying to guesstimate. So I was okay, we're kind of winding down July. Almost every team has a full roster. There's very little signings now, so if you do need to sign someone or want to, still try to get those in as soon as possible. Still waiting on a couple teams there. But.
Yeah, let me just say this real quick too. I found a roster that like puts up pretty realistic sim numbers, like efficiency wise, stat wise. So I'm gonna use that. Problem is, I have to like simulate all of last season or like this past season. Because you can't import a roster into like the start today mode where you start at like the current day. So I'm gonna have to like import that and simulate a whole season, and then make all the moves again and do all that. Like it'll be a long process. But the roster is a like really good sim roster, so it should work well with what we're doing. If that makes sense. I'm just kind of the one thing I gotta figure out is like what options I give you and as like do you want, because it'd be cool to like allow you to develop certain like specific skills in players that you want to try and develop and have that type of stuff play out. But I'll still figure it out. Still gotta work it out. So I'll come up with a plan on Monday and probably see how you guys like it. See if you guys think I should tweak anything with it, and we'll see where it goes from there. So.
Sounds good.
Destrom is saying peace out, go Celtics. Never say that ever again in my comment section.
Well, they've been trying to get you to say peace out, go Spurs for like a month now.
Peace out, go Spurs. That's not right, man. I'm not going to soil the classic sign-off. Like, I'm not going to ruin the sanctity of my classic sign-off. Like, why would I do that?
You could say, for the mock-off season, peace out, go Spurs, but for this, peace out, go Blazers.
For real. Yeah. If I put peace out, go Blazers on a shirt, would you guys want it? Because people would see that and be like, what the hell? But like, if you know, you know. So, I don't know. If you guys want that, I would. Alvaro, I talked about, did you watch my mailbag number 14? I don't think I talked about it last mailbag, but I talked about mailbag before. Because people keep asking me, and it's not really an option for reasons that I said in that mailbag. So if you want to know about it, click on mailbag 14. Click on mailbag 14. It's the one with the red thumbnail. The Blazers bench should be really good next year, because I talk about it in there. I talk about like the reasons why I can't really do that right now. Because I know, I got that huge donation. I don't want to keep the man waiting, but I gotta keep him waiting. Thing is, I know I know how to work with audio really well, so I should be able to actually like make it sound okay and not super cringy, hopefully. But what else do I want to respond to? There's one other thing. You'd buy that shirt, Alvaro? If people would buy that shirt, I'd make it. So maybe I'll make a poll in the community tab. So if you guys want it, make sure you go vote in there. If I get like 5 people, 6 people that say they want it, I'll make it. The thing is, I'll probably get like 20 people to say they want it, and then like 2 would buy it. Because that's kind of what's happened with merch before, but yeah. Because that'd be a cool shirt, just like red letters, just something basic. I don't know. I'd give you guys like some like 4 different mock-up. I'll mock up like a few different designs based around Peace Out Go Blazers and see what you guys want. So anyway, hello to Eric's mom. We're just about to sign off.
Joining late.
We're just about to sign off. Hope you're having a good day. Hope everybody's having a good day. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Stay safe as always. Keep grinding away with this virus and keep trying to, take care of ourselves, take care of the community. That's the goal with this. So I'll catch you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, maybe it'll be on a shirt next time. I don't know. But peace out. Go Blazers.